it's just double vision constantly. And it's a little bit grey as well. So I've got like a grey eyesight from there onwards and double vision.
Tom Aspinall is not cleared to fight still. He is not cleared to train still, which is something, yes, that a commission can enforce. Comes with your privileged license.
The sudden revelation of Tom Aspinall's latest injury update has absolutely thrown the MMA world into a frenzy, setting the stage for a firestorm of conversation as analysts everywhere scramble to dissect his reports. And here's the absolute core of the issue. The part that has everyone so concerned. Despite feeling much better overall after that incredibly nasty eye poke, Tom Aspinall is still grappling with a seriously alarming double vision problem. Now let me be clear, this isn't just some minor inconvenience for a fighter. For a heavyweight who relies on pinpoint timing and accuracy, seeing two targets in the octagon is a complete nightmare scenario. It's the kind of thing that can end a career. To get to the bottom of this, Tom went to see an optometrist who really broke down the entire context of his double vision, revealing that this condition actually happens quite commonly after an eye poke, specifically because of the brutal damage it inflicts on the eye's incredibly delicate muscles.
Eye movement tests have shown that there is a reduction in the ability for the muscles of your eyes to move up. So essentially your eyeball has muscles on the outside and it works like a pulley system. So when one muscle relaxes and one muscle pulls, your eyes move across to your left and then right. If there's damage to these eye muscles, even one small muscle, which are very small, then you can get one eye moving up and the other eye doesn't follow. And if they're not tracking absolutely perfectly, then you get one image coming from one eye and one image coming from a slightly different perspective. And that's what you're getting. You're getting one image here and one image here.
While working to make Tom fully grasp the sheer gravity of his situation, his eye specialist laid out absolutely everything for him, holding nothing back. The doctor's advice was as blunt and non-negotiable as it gets. He stated in no uncertain terms that Tom has to wait a bit longer to even think about fighting again. At the very least until his double vision is completely gone. Because let's be real, you simply cannot compete at an elite level with that kind of debilitating sight problem. The specialist strongly, and I mean strongly, encouraged Tom to prioritize his long-term health and his future vision over the temptation of a quick return to the octagon. At the same time, the doctor also made a real effort to give him some positivity, some glimmer of hope, so that the crushing weight of this news wouldn't leave Tom feeling completely disappointed and demoralized.
Train properly, spar.
It's a long road ahead, but the prognosis is guarded at the moment. I would recommend that you wouldn't fight until your double vision is resolved for two reasons. One, it could potentially make things worse and set you back even further, or that you're training because you're still having double vision looking into the periphery, you wouldn't be at your peak. So that's the main reason. I'm sorry that this has happened, and it's not nice. It's not nice to be in this position with lots of probably pressure coming from inside you, because I know you want to fight.
First and foremost, as soon as this update on Tom's injury went public, Chael Sonnen immediately jumped into damage control mode. He tried to compensate for the incredibly harsh words that both he and Anthony Smith had said right after the injury first happened, going on the record to claim that what they had said wasn't personal in the slightest. He elaborated on this, saying that he actually really admires Tom and his father, emphasizing that he knows them personally, as if that somehow excuses the public criticism. Now, contrast that backtracking with Cyril Gane's response. Gane revealed that if Tom takes the criticism personally, then maybe he can apologize. A far more conditional and frankly less sincere approach to the entire situation that really puts the onus back on Tom.
I like Tom. I like Tom a lot. I like Tom's father. This is on a human level. I don't know Cyril. He could be a perfectly nice guy. I know that Cyril as our champion, as a company, is a problem. And anything that could force us to see John Jones versus Cyril again is a really big problem. At any rate, to just speak about this event, I remember right when it was done. I remember telling you guys, I'm mad. I feel shorted as a fan. I know what I went through to be here.
Looking back at the now infamous eye poke scene from the fight, Chael Sonnen addressed the issue again, and this time, he was not holding back one bit. He's now saying that from his perspective, these eye pokes just do not seem unintended to him at all. In his view, when something like this happens in a fight, the opponent almost always does it intentionally, not as some impulsive accident in the heat of the moment. And when it comes to Tom Aspinall's specific situation, Chael pointed out a crucial detail. Tom didn't just get hit with an eye poke once, but a staggering 3 separate times. In Chael's eyes, and for many watching, that pattern casts some very serious doubt on his opponent's true intentions.
It sounds like Tom was very legitimately hurt, without question. Some of you real tucker, you decide that even when legitimately hurt that you would have finished a fight. You go ahead, you do your thing. Do your thing. Sure you would. But if he was hurt, why wasn't it a disqualification? Why would we decide it's an accident? Why would we decide that it's unintentional? Why do we always decide it's an accident? Why do we always decide it's unintentional?
And let's be real. It's not like Tom was just poked once and is overreacting. Rushing to defend Tom and his critical remarks aimed at Rogan, the legendary Michael Bisping jumped right into the conversation, forcefully pointing out that Tom has been going through a severely tough and unbelievably frustrating time. Bisping tried to justify Tom's harsh arguments by framing it from a fighter's perspective, something he knows all too well. He claimed that it was so incredibly clear how hard Tom had been preparing for this specific matchup, pouring his heart and soul into a grueling camp, only for it all to end in the most anticlimactic way possible because of an eye poke. So, for Bisping, a fighter talking some trash about their opponent in that situation is completely normal and expected, especially for a person who just watched months and months of grueling, painstaking preparation result in absolutely nothing.
Now, obviously, Tom's the one living through this. Tom's the one that's getting absolutely slaughtered online. And Tom's the one 6 weeks later still having to go to the doctor and still can't train and do any kind of combat. So he's the man that's living with this, okay? So you understand you kind of will get emotional. You will be, and you will think that Cyril Gane was doing that on purpose. I still don't, okay? I don't think Cyril Gane did that on purpose. What you want to do is crack someone in the face. And when the hands are out, when you go to grab, if someone comes in to take you down or whatever, sometimes that happens. That's why this whole rule of the fingers being up, not allowed there, but they're allowed.
Now, regarding that ridiculous and frankly disgusting trend of people digging through fan comments just to find ways to make fun of Tom, one commentator absolutely blasted those people, declaring that everyone should just stop trolling him immediately. He made it crystal clear that these aren't just critics, they are Tom's haters. People who are actively and maliciously trying to make an already tough situation even worse for him. He really tried his best to deliver a powerful shut-up call to those people, powerfully claiming that he had also been through the very same kind of difficult phase in his own career, so he could genuinely and deeply understand Tom's difficult situation. He's also trying to channel that positive energy toward Tom himself, advising him that he should do his absolute best to ignore all of those hateful, worthless, and utterly meaningless comments.
It's said than done, and it's easy to get a thicker skin like I have over the years when you've been in the spotlight for 20 years. Tom's still relatively new to this, and 1 minute is the belle of the ball, the next minute everyone online is talking. Okay, and that's a hard thing to deal with. You got to remember, yeah, he's a big gigantic dude and he's the heavyweight champion of the world, but deep down inside he's still only a human being, and it seems like the entire fan base has turned their back on him and they're talking crap. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't feel good. Like there's one right here. Tom is the most overrated fighter in UFC history.
It's just absolutely laugh. Giving some closing remarks on the entire heated discussion, Michael Bisping offered some priceless veteran advice born from his own painful experiences. He stated that Tom should absolutely not rush to fight and make a premature comeback, no matter how tempting it might be. Instead, he stressed that at this incredibly sensitive stage of his recovery, he needs to listen to his doctors and follow their advice to the absolute letter, without deviation. He then added a hopeful note saying that Tom should be looking forward to his career's peak because he truly believes that soon enough, Tom will be all right and back to his normal life. But, and this is the crucial part, to get there, he absolutely must be patient and persistent through this incredibly difficult process.
Granted, I don't think it's that serious, although the fact that 6 weeks later he's still not cleared for competition, that is alarming. First thing he's got to do is listen to the doctors. Do not rush anything. The man's still young. He's in his prime. He's not on borrowed time. He's still got years ahead of him. Listen to the doctors. Come back, whoop some ass, take the gloves off. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Tell everyone to go themselves, knock some people out, and this whole escapade will be behind him. Doing interviews and showing the receipts and showing the doctor's appointments and all the rest of it, I don't think that's the way forward. I really don't. But anyway.
While listening to Tom Aspinall's video, where he explained everything after the eye poke, the analyst known as the anime guru came out with a strong take. He stated that since Tom has now come forward and claimed his eye poke injury was very real, with medical backing, then all the people who were relentlessly making fun of him should step up, show some integrity, and apologize to him directly. He went on to say that anyone who thinks Tom's medical reports are somehow fake or fabricated probably just takes the sport of MMA in a very casual, uninformed, and frankly, ignorant manner. He really drove the point home by saying this is the heavyweight championship we're talking about here, the pinnacle of the sport. So everyone should really mind their words and think twice when they're talking about these elite, world-class fighters.
Confirmed clinical findings by eye doctors in hospitals. Everybody's still out there maybe saying, this is fake, this is such... We ain't accepting apologies, dude. You're on that side, you're on that side. You want to be one of them, you're on one of them. Okay? I still see people on Twitter saying, this is ChatGPT. This ain't ChatGPT, dude. What do you think this is? He's cooking up a fake little thing to type down, fake doctor's notes to put up on his Instagram. This is the heavyweight champ we're talking about here, dude. This is Tom Aspinall.
However, things took a very strange and bizarre turn when the guru started to break down Tom's confirmed clinical findings in what can only be described as a ridiculous and deeply sarcastic way. He sarcastically announced to his audience that Tom has been diagnosed with a bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome. Then, he immediately started questioning it, pretending to suspect that this trauma is somehow being linked to cognitive diseases, even though Tom's primary and clearly stated concerns are entirely with an eye injury. He acted all surprised and bewildered, asking his viewers how an eye injury could possibly be linked to cognitive diseases. A theatrical performance clearly designed to make the official diagnosis sound doubtful, confusing, and incredibly hard for the average person to believe.
Tom Aspinall was poked, and Cyril Gahn put his fingers in Tom Aspinall's eyes, and Tom Aspinall got Brown syndrome from it. I don't know if this is a symptom of Brown syndrome on Tom Aspinall. Maybe this is late stage, and there's still a chance. But bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome. He's got Brown syndrome. It could have been a different one that sounds similar. Different type of syndrome. We dodged that one for now. He always looked a bit like Shane Gillis. Bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome, indicating disruption of the superior oblique tendon, trochlear mechanism.
After the possibility was raised that Tom might actually need surgery to fix the damage, the guru appealed that it shouldn't come to that. He argued that if Tom really needs a major operation on his eye, then it will become far less possible for him to ever make a successful comeback to the sport. He also coined a new, derogatory term for Tom's injury, calling it a Bispingers, an obvious and disrespectful reference to Michael Bisping, who also suffered a career-altering eye poke. He then made the sweeping claim that it seems like all the UK guys are supposed to get an eye poke. So, you see the contradiction here. On one side, the guru is pretending to be worried about Tom's career, but on the other hand, he's actively and cruelly making fun of him.
No surgery, please. That sounds dreadful. That sounds like a lot of time off. That sounds like permanently worrying about it moving forward. Maybe it could go wrong, the surgery, and if it goes wrong with the eyeball, it could really go wrong. Dude, is it the Bisping curse of UK UFC fighters? Arnold Allen's got to watch out. You know? Pimlet's fighting for a title against Gaethje. Pack your goggles. Okay? Big time. Yeah, there might be a curse going round. I really do worry.
In a very similar vein to the guru, another analyst, Wade Plemons, also broke down the medical findings from Tom's situation, but he did it with a much more serious and professional tone, which was a stark contrast. He claimed that if these medical findings are confirmed to be 100% accurate, then Tom's career is truly at the brink of a very dangerous and critical stage. From his well-informed perspective, he thinks Tom should not even consider continuing to fight for quite some time, because the reports indicate that both of his eyes are hurt. And for any fighter, being able to clearly watch and track an opponent's every single move is not just important, it's absolutely essential for survival in the cage.
And the reason I think this is a big deal, number one, if Tom can't move his eyes from left to right, up and down freely and see everything coming his way, he can't fight. Now, again, this is a bad thing if it's as bad as we're saying in the video here when it says traumatic Brown syndrome, indicating disruption of the superior oblique tendon trochlear mechanism. That's not the end of this. That's not the end of the road when it comes to how bad this could potentially be. But if you can't use your eyes without turning your head to see things, like if your eyes are stuck in a very limited space, think about like tendonitis of the eye muscle.
While responding directly to all those people who were trolling Tom online and mindlessly comparing his eye poke to Michael Bisping's, Plemons made it absolutely clear to them that they were missing the point entirely. He explained that Bisping's eye poke, while severe, was not nearly as complex as this situation, which is precisely why he was miraculously able to continue his career, essentially fighting with just one good eye. But in Tom's case, the situation is completely different and potentially much worse. Both of his eyes are reportedly hurt, and he has very serious, specific concerns with his vision. Because of that, he should not be focusing on public trolling at all. Instead, he needs to take a significant, extended gap from all combat sports to properly and fully heal.
And not being able to move them, that's GG's on your career, because one thing you need, as much as you need anything else in MMA to fight, is your eyes. You can't see punches coming. You can't see where your opponent is. You can't see out of the peripheral vision of your eye for strikes coming behind other strikes. This is a problem. And for the people that are going to say, oh, well, Mike Bisping fought with one eye, Tom should be able to do the same. Well, okay, yeah. First off, Mike Bisping shouldn't have been fighting with one eye. But secondly, this is bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome. So it's not just the bad right eye that Tom Aspinall was talking about. Apparently, he's got it in both eyes. Both eyes having a hard time moving around in his skull.
After breaking down Tom's video message, Wade Plemons said that he finds it absolutely awful and frankly unfair that Tom is even in a position where he feels he has to explain his eye poke scenario to the fans and, even more concerningly, to Dana White. Some believe the UFC president might just think Tom should suck it up and continue fighting with one eye, just like Bisping did. Plemons added that he believes there are high chances the UFC could treat Tom harshly moving forward, especially since some of Tom's partners have said some rude things about the UFC as well. This entire messy situation just makes things more complicated for Tom himself, because this kind of friction between a fighter and the promotion could potentially lead his career towards a dead end.
The fact that Tom has to explain this to people that are either online or, in this case, Dana White, is insane. Dana White pulling the Tom's not tough enough card is ridiculous to me. Oh, well, he just didn't want to fight. No, it's not that he didn't want to fight. It's that if he chooses to fight without having any vision, he will not only surely lose, but also may impair his health even further. And like Dana said, who gives? They'll just move on, put the belt on Ciryl Gane, probably blackball Tom based on the stuff that Tom's dad said, based on the fact that Tom doesn't want to fight a certain heavyweight, and based on the relationship they have, and because the UFC runs the whole thing, they can kind of do that.
While giving his own personal opinion on Tom's delicate situation, an analyst named Emma Joey openly mocked Tom's way of posting videos while wearing sunglasses, a clear jab at his injury claim. After hearing Tom's harsh words directed at Dana White, Joey claimed that this outburst could easily lead Tom's career towards a very destructive and irreversible turn. He added that as a direct consequence of speaking out against the boss, Tom could very well be denied another chance to fight for the undisputed heavyweight title, a form of punishment that the UFC is notoriously known for handing out to fighters who step out of line.
With sunglasses on a cloudy day, saying he has no idea when he might fight again, and also trashing Dana White a little bit. And I do believe that all this is heading down one road, and that is the road of Tom Aspinall being stripped of the UFC undisputed heavyweight title. and I don't really see it going down any other way. I'm not going to guarantee it because we'll have to see how it goes, but I'm really starting to think that Tom Aspinall is going to end up stripped of the heavyweight title and will probably end up with a Salsa Boy versus Cyril Gane for the undisputed heavyweight title in 2026, which would be absolutely insane.
After hearing the narrative from Tom's doctors about his condition, Joey showed his profound skepticism, going so far as to say that it sounds incredibly weird that Tom is supposedly left with only low vision. It really seems like Joey did not believe a single word of the diagnosis or the severity of the injury. He also openly mocked the people who were actually trusting Tom at this point and showing him support, strongly suggesting that he thinks the situation is not nearly as difficult as it's being made out to be. His comments implied that perhaps Tom and his camp are just exaggerating it all for dramatic effect or public sympathy.
These eyes are damaged so badly that they are hurt 6 weeks later. Apparently, he's legally blind now. That's the narrative they're going with. That is in the doctor's report, that he has like 8% and 21% vision, something along those lines, which is absolutely insane. These are the eyes. These are the damaged eyes. I mean, this is absolutely insane. I really can't believe there's
those people who actually believe this. Finally, Joey really insulted Tom's entire team, and he didn't hold back. He claimed that his team partners and cornermen are not doing what's best for him right now, essentially accusing them of mismanagement. He argued that since this is the heavyweight championship level, the highest tier of the sport, his friends and teammates should be focused on keeping his spirit high and managing the public narrative. Instead, in Joey's opinion, they are allowing him to look miserable and defensive in front of the public. He also thinks that Tom desperately needs to be a bit more patient and strategic in his actions and words if he truly wants to stay relevant and succeed in the ruthless world of the UFC.
And I'll say this right now, Tom Aspinall has the worst team he could ever imagine. They keep making him look worse over and over and over again when he should have just shut up and said, look, I'm going to get healthy and I'm going to get my get back. I'm going to get my rematch. Instead, he's crying. Oh, Gane's such a dirty cheater. Let me show you a compilation of him cheating over the course of 6 years. And crying about eye pokes when you quit in a heavyweight title fight while you're defending the heavyweight title that you never even earned. But these are his eyes within 12 hours of him being eye poked. And now we're 6 weeks later and magically he has all these. But we'll get to that in a second.
In the end, after all the back and forth, the entire MMA world is left wondering the same thing. What's next for Tom Aspinall? Ever since his first video explaining the injury leaked, analysts have been talking non-stop about his health concerns. A lot of these analysts seem to think that Tom is just pretending to be sick and is actually faking the severity of his eye poke, while many others are saying that Tom is just exaggerating his injury concerns. It's become clear that these are often the haters of Tom, the ones who favor rival fighters like Cyril Gane or John Jones. But on the other side of the coin, there are some other analysts who truly understand his condition and even justify his immense frustration and exhaustion. However, the case is not as simple as people are considering it, because Tom has apparently been found to have Brown syndrome, which is a really serious concern for both his long-term health and his fighting career. Now, the whole community is on the edge of their seats, anxiously curious about the next steps for both Tom and the UFC, and everyone is wondering whether Tom's promising career is going to end here, or if he will get another chance to climb the mountain after he recovers.